Good day and welcome once again to another episode of the Conversation on TV 360. Today I'm happy to have with me in the studio a friend of mine, a political affairs analyst. I remain Nelson Ekujumi. I have with me in the studio Peter Okwara. Peter Okwara, welcome to the Conversation on TV 360.
Thank you.
Yes, today we quickly want to look at some issues. And one of the first topic we're going to look at in this stanza is the NLC strike, that would have started on the 3rd of
That's
October.
today.
Yes, that would have started on the 3rd as NLC and TUC strike. But we have seen that it's like the engagements that some of us advocated for when this issue broke with the federal government, that we admonished the labor centers to give the federal government time while they focus on measuring what has been done in the state. Because from my own understanding, I got to know that the agitation was more about the interests of the federal workers. Because we have seen states like Edo, Lagos, Kwara, Ogun come out to tell us that they have given 10,000 naira award to their workers. We have also seen some of those states come out to tell us that they have reduced the working days from 5 to 3. Because of the biting economic crunch. We have seen states launch the distribution of palliatives. Even in Lagos, where we all live, where we are speaking from, we have seen even local governments give palliatives. And this federal worker, I'm very sure, that even the federal workers, some live in Lagos. And we have seen they launch the award by the Lagos state government, whereby they reduce the BLT fare by 25%. It does not discriminate whether you are a Lagos state worker or a local government worker or a federal worker, because they are federal agencies. And in Mr. President's address, we saw that he addressed the issue solely with regards to federal workers. And that was one of the things we were clamoring for, that if we look at the agitation from labor, ordinarily, one would have advised that the state workers at the state level should not be participants in that struggle, because states are already addressing their needs, even though there's still more to be done. But we have seen that the award has been made to, the concessions now have been made to the federal workers, as well as the concession that will be made to the generality of the Nigerians through the provision of CNG buses, as well as provision of soft loans and grants to medium and small scale industries. So by and large, what is your take on this recurring resort to strike by labor at on every issue?
Thank you. You see, labor rightly said, Nigerians are going, as labor rightly said, Nigerians are going through a lot of strictures arising from the removal of fuel subsidy. We agree to that. Every Nigerian, not only labor, not only, after all, how many people are in the employ of organized labor?
Yes.
How many workers do we have in Nigeria? That's government workers.
Yes.
Because when labor talks about strike, it's about government workers withdrawing their services.
But that is not to say that people...
I'm coming.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, it boils down to how do you address the needs of government workers. But we are saying that they are still insignificant compared with the number of Nigerians. Presently, the government has rolled out palliatives, various arms of government, but mostly from the federal government. They have rolled out palliatives distributed to the states, and the states, we believe, are reaching the people. The palliatives may not be enough or may not even go far, but they still remain palliative, temporary measures. We are looking for permanent measures, permanent solutions to the strictures. And as I keep saying, it boils down to dealing with the huge inflationary spiral, and that depends, that falls on every hand, every stakeholder to make contribution, not only government, not even only labor, but all hands to be on deck to ensure that this trend, this inflationary trend is dealt with for the benefit of every Nigerian. Having said that, Labour was being reasonable in arresting or suspending their threatened strike. Why are they being reasonable? This was a measure the government took, an economic measure. Every Nigerian agreed is very necessary. Now the fallout is what we are dealing with. The government have been doing its bit, maybe with the support of other stakeholders. They have been doing it to ameliorate the suffering. And now Labour will come, well, we are going on strike, we are not going on strike every day. It's a distraction in itself and an action that even will worsen the situation. I believe the best is for Labour to sit down with the government, try to make government to quicken efforts, to finding this solution, and not about periodically you will be threatening to go on strike, you will go on strike, maybe after some promise you call it off, and this. It's not helping anybody. What we require now is the contribution of every stakeholder, be you government, be you Labour, be you the organized private sector, be you the informal sector, to make sure that we deal with the negative effects of the fuel subsidy, and not to be calling for strike every now and then, because it's not going to solve anything.
Yes, while you were making your submission, something came to my mind, and it is that the issue about a better society, like you have rightly addressed it, is the collective responsibility of us all, including Labour.
Sure.
As much as we commend Labour, I believe strongly that we must up it into the consciousness of Labour that since they have taken it upon themselves to advocate for the rights of workers, and they have claimed that it is for the generality of Nigerians, of which we know Labour has engaged in some actions that has benefited the generality of Nigerians in the past. But for me, I also think it is important for Labour to aggregate issues. For example, as we speak today, you talked about inflation. Some of the causes of this inflation are even beyond government policies. They are even man-made. We have seen situations, okay, for example, a cement manufacturing company just on October 1 made an announcement that she's reducing the price of cement per bag to 3,500 naira. So I think Labour should be interested in how come some persons were selling it for 5,100 or what have you. If you can bring it down, it means some of these manufacturers have been exploiting the people. And if Labour is about the interest of workers, it also means that the people that are being exploited are not only the Nigerian masses, but as well as even Labour itself. Because a labourer deserves his wages. That somebody is a labourer today does not mean he cannot build a house. So for me, I want to see a situation whereby Labour goes beyond every time it is Labour versus government. Let us also see Labour come out and tell us, Nigerian people, come o, Nigerian government, come o. These are the sharp practices we are seeing in this industry, in that industry. We have seen it in the past where Labour goes around picketing companies that have refused to unionize their offices. But at the end of the day, it's like when they take that action, we never get to hear the end result. As we speak, a lot of persons have alleged that most corporate entities in Nigeria have refused to abide by labor laws in unionizing workers. I am an industrial relations practitioner, and I know that under the under the labor law, once a corporate organization has about 50 employees under the law, I don't know if it has been amended, automatically they must become unionized. Well, we have seen severally. So what I'm saying here is that as much as we want to commend Labour for the role they have been playing, it is also important for us to redirect their focus.
Yeah, let me take it off from there. I think you, from the standpoint of the manufacturer, the cement manufacturer that reduced his price. You see, the biggest problem Nigeria faces is patriotism, lack of patriotism amongst Nigerians. Like most of the inflation we are seeing today are fueled by greed and that lack of patriotism. What BUA did is a mark of patriotism which every other citizen must emulate. But here we are seeing greedy industrialists who want to maximize every profit, you know, who will rather increase than reduce prices no matter the circumstances. You are right. Let labor, or let me say even, let me extrapolate it down to the government. Let government lead a charge which will make the citizenry to be much more active in forcing most of these people to adopt measures, to adopt economic measures that will help the people. Because most of them, exploitativeness and greed is what is driving the inflation, not necessarily the fuel subsidy removal. You remove the fuel subsidy, the inflation is still there because no Nigerian deems it patriotic enough to reduce the amount of his greed to allow Nigerians to breathe.
Thank you very much, Peter. You know, I really enjoyed the conversation on this issue, and I hope that Labour, as well as Nigerians and the government, you know, we take it up from, you know, where we have discussed this issue today. We want to quickly go on a break. We'll be right back. Please continue to stay tuned to the conversation on TV 360. We'll be right back.